Okay, picture this. You're really active, right? You're deep into the Garmin world, tracking every run, ride, workout,
Hmm.
everything.
Hmm.
But then it's bedtime, and that amazing watch on your wrist suddenly feels, well, honestly, kind of bulky,
Hmm.
or maybe just uncomfortable.
Yeah, I get that. Or it just needs charging, right?
Exactly. It needs juice for the next day. So you take it off, and boom, you're missing out on all that vital sleep data, the
Yeah.
stuff that fuels your recovery scores. What do you do?
It's such a common thing, isn't it? That conflict. You want the data, especially for sleep, because it's so important.
Totally.
But you don't want to wear the gear 24/7, or you physically can't cause a charge.
Right, and that specific pain point, that's what we're diving into today. It's Garmin's new thing, the Index Sleep Monitor.
Ah, yes, the dedicated sleep band.
Yeah. So our mission here is to really unpack it. What is this thing? Who's it really for? What makes it tick? And, why all the buzz? We've got insights from some top reviewers who've really put it through its paces. DC Rainmaker, Desfit, and especially the super detailed analysis from the 5K runner.
Okay, great sources.
So this deep dive, it's definitely for you if you're thinking about optimizing recovery, if you've ever just ripped your watch off before hitting the pillow.
Guilty.
Or if you just want to get the lowdown on the latest wearable tech without, getting totally swamped in jargon.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
So the core problem is clear comfort and charging versus data.
pretty much. We've all been there. So how did Garmin decide this specific approach, this separate device, was the answer?
Well, like you said, many dedicated Garmin users just find the watches, especially the bigger Phoenix or Enduro models, too much for sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
Or they absolutely need that overnight charge window.
Mm-hmm.
So Garmin's solution, the Index Sleep Monitor, a dedicated screenless tracker just for sleep. It's not trying to be your everything tracker. It's got one job.
Sleep.
Sleep.
And the 5K runner, in their really, really thorough review, they kind of zeroed in on this, didn't they? They said something like, this device will most likely be loved by existing Garmin customers.
Right.
Specifically, either those who use bike computers and have no access to Garmin's sleep metrics, or those who already have a Garmin watch and would prefer to wear something lighter and more comfortable at night. Is that too narrow, do you think, or is that bang on?
No, I think the 5K runner absolutely nailed it there. It's a sentiment you see echoed everywhere. DC Rainmaker, Desfit, they all basically say the same thing.
Oh.
The main goal, the primary design focus, was empowering existing Garmin users, letting them take the watch off at night without sacrificing that crucial sleep data feed. It's about keeping that whole health picture complete, maintaining the ecosystem's value.
Right, keep feeding the beast, the Garmin Connect base.
Pretty much, yeah. It's a specific solution for a specific but, pretty large group within their user base.
Okay, so if comfort is the name of the game here, let's get into the nitty-gritty, the device itself. First impressions, what's it like to actually wear?
Well, first thing you notice, it's light, like really light. DC Rainmaker compared it to a Whoop strap in terms of just how little you feel it.
Okay, Whoop level lightness, that's
Yeah.
interesting. And the material?
Yeah, the material's kind of unique. It's a 70% nylon, 30% spandex.
70-30 nylon spandex. What does that actually feel like?
It means it's super soft, really flexible. DC Rainmaker had this funny story about it.
No, yeah.
His first thought, literally, when he picked it up was, and this is a direct quote, "This feels like women's underwear to me."
Ah, okay.
He even asked Garmin about the materials, kind of double-checking, and they basically chuckled and confirmed, yeah, that kind of fabric blend.
Right.
And the kicker is, he gave it to his wife to try. No context, just feel this. And her instant reaction, oh, this feels like women's underwear.
Wow. Okay, so maybe an unusual comparison, but it definitely paints a picture of soft and stretchy.
Exactly, it's got this distinctive feel.
But then you look at it and the band is wide, like really wide. What is it, 63.5 millimeters? 2.5 inches? That sounds kind of the opposite of comfortable.
It does seem counterintuitive, doesn't it? At first glance, you think, wow, that's bulky. But actually, it's a clever design choice.
How so?
Both DC Rainmaker and Chase the Summit really highlighted this, that width actually makes it more comfortable instead of a thin strap digging in.
Right, concentrating the pressure.
Exactly. It spreads that pressure over a much bigger area on your upper arm, so it feels way less tight. And honestly, they said you pretty much forget it's there when you're sleeping.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
And Desvid pointed out another practical win for the width. It helps block light leakage from the optical heart rate sensor. You know, the little green flashing lights?
Oh, yeah, that can be annoying in the dark.
Definitely. This wider band minimizes that, helps keep the bedroom dark, which is, good for sleep hygiene.
Good point. And practically speaking, how does it stay on?
It uses Velcro, simple Velcro closure, and it comes in two sizes, a small medium and a large XL, so you can get a good fit for different arm sizes.
Right.
The 5K runner actually praised the Velcro, saying it allows for a much more precise and comfortable fit compared to just like a stretchy tube of Lycra.
That makes sense. You need it snug, but not too tight for the sensors.
Totally. And you wear it on your upper arm, the bicep area.
Yeah.
That's where Garmin recommends it for the best readings during sleep.
Okay.
And Desfit had a nice tip. Once you get the Velcro size just right the first time, you can often just slide it on and off your arm without undoing the Velcro every single night.
Oh, that's handy. Less fiddling.
Yeah. And big practical point. The band itself is machine washable.
Oh, thank goodness. For something you wear every night.
Exactly. Garmin confirms it. Desfit mentioned it. The 5K runner too. Big plus. Inside the band, there's this little removable pod.
The brains of the operation.
Pretty much. That's where Garmin's latest Gen 5 optical heart rate sensor lives. You just pop that pod out when you need to watch the band or when you need to charge the pod itself.
Gotcha. So sounds comfortable, practical to maintain, designed to be worn easily. But what's it actually tracking? And crucially, how does that data play with the rest of the Garmin universe?
Right, the data. It tracks a whole bunch of what's called raw metrics. You've got your total sleep time, of course, then blood oxygenation or SpO2,
Okay.
heart rate variability, HRV, skin temperature, which is interesting, your heart rate throughout the night, including your resting heart rate, and your respiration rate, so how many breaths per minute.
That's quite a list. Raw data, you said. How does that become useful?
Yeah, so that's the clever part. All that raw data gets synced via Bluetooth Low Energy to the Garmin Connect app on your phone.
Right.
And in Garmin Connect, it feeds into those more actionable insights. It powers your body battery score, gives you detailed sleep stage breakdowns, deep REM light awake times. It all rolls up into a single sleep score for the night.
Okay, so it builds the picture.
Exactly. It even tracks breathing disturbances. That's Garmin's non-medical take on potential sleep apnea indicators. Just a general flag, not a diagnosis, obviously.
Right, important distinction. So this isn't just siloed data in some separate sleep app. It's flowing right into Garmin Connect. For maybe someone newer to Garmin, can you quickly break down training readiness and body battery? Why is getting this sleep data into those so important?
Absolutely. So think of body battery like your phone's battery indicator, but for your body's energy levels. Stress and activity drain it, rest and sleep recharge it. Gives you a feel for your overall gas in the tank.
Makes sense.
Training readiness is a bit more sophisticated. It's a score telling you how prepped your body is for a hard workout today. It looks at recent sleep, your recovery time from workouts, your current training load, your HRV status, lots of factors. Getting accurate sleep data into both of those is absolutely critical because, honestly, sleep is probably the biggest driver for both metrics. Without good sleep data, those scores are kind of like educated guesses. Still useful, maybe, but less precise.
So the Index Sleep Monitor makes them more accurate, more reliable.
Exactly. It ensures that sleep data is complete and timely. It updates your training readiness, your training status, your recovery time advisor, your HRV status trends, all your historical sleep patterns. It even populates your morning report on compatible watches and adjusts the daily suggested workouts based on how well you slept.
Wow. Okay, so it really integrates deeply.
It does. And for women's health tracking, that skin temperature data it collects gets used to help refine period predictions and estimate past ovulation timing.
That's a huge benefit, especially, like we said, for people charging their watch overnight. Desfit and Chase the Summit really hammered this point home. It solves that core problem. Charge the watch, wear the band, wake up with a full battery and full sleep data.
It's a genuine game changer for those users. It's designed primarily to work with your watch, filling that gap. But interestingly, you can use it standalone. If you don't have a Garmin watch but just want sleep tracking that goes into Connect, it technically works.
But it shines when paired.
Absolutely. The 5K runner made that clear. Its real power is unlocked within the broader ecosystem, feeding all those other metrics. Oh, and it has a smart alarm feature too.
Ah, the vibrating alarm.
Yeah, it uses subtle vibration. The idea is to wake you gently during a lighter sleep phase within a window you set, say, up to 30 minutes before your actual target wake-up time.
I like the sound of that. Less jarring than a loud alarm. DC Rainmaker mentioned tapping it.
Right, you can double tap to snooze or do 4 taps to dismiss the alarm. He did find that sometimes sneezing actually ended the sleep tracking session, which he flagged, and Garmin apparently is looking into that little bug.
Good to know. And what if you say, wear both? Like, you forget to take your watch off and put the band on?
Good question. Data prioritization. The 5K runner and Desfit both confirmed this. If both devices record sleep, Garmin Connect will typically prioritize the data from your primary wearable, which is usually your watch.
Okay, so the watch data usually wins out if both are worn. Makes sense.
Yeah. And another little practical tip from DC Rainmaker. If you're, like, rushing out the door super early, you might need to open the Garmin Connect app on your phone manually to force the sync.
Ah, before the automatic sync kicks in.
Exactly. Otherwise, that fresh sleep data might not be there instantly if you're checking your body battery right away. Minor thing, but worth knowing.
Definitely. And what about battery life? How often are we plugging this thing in?
It's pretty solid, actually. Garmin claims 7 nights with SpO2 tracking turned on, which is usually the biggest battery drain.
A full week is decent?
Yeah, and DC Rainmaker mentioned in his testing he was actually getting even more than 7 days. So battery life seems quite good. Plus, and this is a nice touch, it uses the standard Garmin charging cable.
Oh, nice. No extra proprietary cable to lose.
Exactly. One less cable to worry about. It's a small thing, but appreciated.
For sure. Okay, so we've got comfort, features, deep integration, good battery life. Let's talk accuracy. How well does it actually track sleep? And maybe more importantly, the so what? What does this data really mean for your recovery?
Right, accuracy. The general consensus from the experts is that it's pretty reliable for the basics. Tracking when you actually fall asleep, when you wake up, and picking up any significant chunks of time you were awake during the night.
So the big picture stuff, it gets right.
Yeah, DC Rainmaker and Desfit both found it dependable for those core sleep-wake timings.
Which arguably is the most important part for just knowing if you got a decent night's rest.
Pretty much.
But what about the finer details? The sleep stages, deep sleep, REM, light sleep. How accurate is it there? Because people can get really obsessed with those percentages.
Yeah, the sleep stage rabbit hole. This is where DC Rainmaker makes a really crucial point. He emphasizes that there's really no consumer-level gold standard for measuring sleep stages accurately.
Not like GPS accuracy or heart rate.
Exactly. Even proper sleep labs, he says. The best systems only hit maybe mid-80 percentile accuracy for staging. It's just inherently fuzzy.
Okay, that's surprising. Mid-80s doesn't sound super precise if you're trying to optimize.
Right. And the 5K runner also kind of touches on this, suggesting the real value isn't in obsessing over nightly stage numbers, but looking at the trends over time. Are you generally getting consistent sleep? Is your total time okay?
So for anyone out there stressing over their deep sleep minutes or REM cycles, what's the big takeaway DC Rainmaker wanted people to understand? What really matters?
His advice was pretty blunt. Stop chasing perfect sleep stage data. He argued really strongly that for your actual health and recovery, the total amount of sleep you get and the overall consistency and quality are way, way more important than whether the device perfectly nailed every single minute of REM versus light sleep. His quote was something like, if you're getting 8 hours of sleep per night, then all of your sleep stage and phase data doesn't really matter as to whether or not it's accurate. Focus on the duration and feeling rested.
That really simplifies things, actually. And it's probably healthier mentally, too.
Definitely.
So for you, the listener, why this data matters isn't about micromanaging sleep stages. It's because it feeds reliably into those bigger Garmin recovery metrics, your body battery, your training readiness. It gives you actionable insights based on your overall sleep duration and quality, helping you understand how recovered you are for your day, for your next workout. It's about the big picture.
Precisely. It shifts the focus from data perfection to practical understanding and application. Are you ready to train hard today? Or do you need more rest? That's the core question it helps answer.
Okay, now, let's talk about what it doesn't do. The almost perfect but section. Because there were definitely some missed opportunities highlighted. The big one, the sort of elephant in the room that Chase the Summit, Desfit, and the 5K runner all pointed out, is that it's only a sleep tracker.
Yeah, that's the main limitation. It doesn't do any 24/7 activity tracking. No steps, no calories burned during the day, none of that.
Right.
And maybe more surprisingly, you cannot use it as an external heart rate sensor during workouts.
Even though it has the same Gen 5 sensor as the watches.
Exactly. It has the latest sensor tech.
Yeah.
And wearing a sensor on the bicep is often better for accuracy during exercise, especially things like weightlifting or cycling where wrist flex can mess with readings.
Yeah, less motion artifact.
Right. So the hardware seems capable, but the functionality just isn't enabled. Desfit, among others, expressed some real frustration about that. It seems like a missed trick.
So why? Why would Garmin deliberately limit it like that? They have the sensor, the placement is good. What's the thinking?
Well, The 5K runner offered a pretty plausible theory on this. They suggested it might be a strategic move by Garmin,
How so?
potentially, to make sure you still need your Garmin watch or bike computer for daytime tracking and for workouts. It keeps the watch as the essential hub for all things activity-related. If this band did everything, maybe fewer people would buy the high-end watches.
Protecting their core product lines. That makes business sense, even if it's frustrating for users wanting an all-in-one band.
Could be. It ensures the ecosystem roles remain clearly defined. Watch for day and sport, band for night.
Okay, and then there's the price, $169 US. What was the verdict there? Seems opinions were split.
Yeah, definitely varied. Chase the Summit felt it was fairly reasonable considering what it does within the Garmin system.
Okay.
But DeskFit and DC Rainmaker both lean towards it being definitely expensive, especially given it only does sleep. You're paying a lot for a single-function device.
True, but then the 5K runner had a more nuanced take.
Yeah, they kind of landed in the middle, suggesting the price is about right if you factor in the Garmin brand premium, the quality of the hardware, and importantly, the value of the insights you get within the very rich Garmin Connect app and ecosystem.
So the value depends heavily on how invested you already are in Garmin.
Exactly. If you're deep in the ecosystem, that seamless integration is worth a lot. If you're not, it probably seems overpriced.
So bottom line, is this Garmin's answer to Whoop? Is it a direct competitor to those 247 bands?
The consensus seems to be not totally. As the 5K runner and DC Rainmaker pointed out, it's missing that crucial 24/7 activity tracking piece that defines Whoop in similar bands.
Right, it's a sleep specialist, not a generalist.
Correct. However, DC Rainmaker did frame it as potentially a precursor, maybe a first trial boat run for Garmin dipping its toes into the dedicated band market, testing the waters. And the 5K runner also brought up Polar's recent announcement of the Polar Ring, their own Whoop competitor, which highlights, there's definite market pressure and consumer interest in these less obtrusive dedicated tracking bands. So maybe Garmin is watching closely.
Maybe this is step one.
Could be.
Well, this has been a really insightful deep dive into the Garmin Index Sleep Monitor.
Yeah, to wrap it up, what we have here is a very comfortable, very specialized device. Its main job is to seamlessly funnel your essential sleep data back into the Garmin ecosystem. It's primarily for existing Garmin users, especially those who find wearing their watch at night a pain, offering them that combo of comfort plus continuous data for recovery insights.
So yeah, it definitely fills a specific niche, solves a real problem for a certain type of user, particularly those deep into Garmin already, maybe like the 5K runner profile athletes wanting every edge. But the question lingers, doesn't it? What does this device, being only for sleep, coupled with that clear market craving for broader 247 bands, what does it signal about Garmin's future plans?
Right. Is this just the start? Are we going to see Garmin release a full-blown, multi-purpose smart band soon to compete directly with Whoop or Aura or the new Polar Ring?
Or will they stick to this segmented approach? Watch for activity, band for sleep. It's definitely something interesting for you, the listener, to ponder. Where does Garmin go next in the world of wearables?